Joining us now is the executive director of the nonprofit United Policyholders, Amy Bach.
Amy and her team provide tools and resources for navigating insurance after a disaster like these devastating wildfires. Amy, good morning.
Good morning.
So we've been asking this question to some of the firefighters, and I'm glad we got you on the line here because people don't know what to do sometimes. There's a state of shock and grief, and I've lost my home, or maybe I don't know if I've lost my home. What do I do? Give us a step-by-step. If I'm in that position, what's the first thing I do?
Well, what we tell people is to understand you're not alone. You're not going to have to navigate this all on your own. We've had wildfires in California since people have been living here. Our organization has 3 decades of program experience to give people tools, resources, empathy, and information. We tell people, get your hands on a notebook, any kind of notebook, so you can start keeping track of who you talk to when, phone numbers and all that. Keep a journal, because one of the constants here is that people are overwhelmed, traumatized, displaced, and they just need to help stay on track. If you know your home's down, then you do want to notify your insurance company and get your hands on a current and complete copy of your policy as soon as you can.
And then you say there are a lot of rules and regulations here in California to make it easier for residents. Can you tell us about those?
Yes. So if you've lost your home, you're entitled to get an advance, a cash advance from your insurance company of up to 30% of the amount of coverage you have on your house. They are supposed to advance that to you in the early weeks so that you've got some cash to work with. They're also, if you have additional living expense coverage in your policy, which most people should have unless they're with the FAIR plan, which doesn't provide that bucket of coverage that covers your temporary rent, your meals, and all that, they also do need to give you a 4-month advance on those funds early on, so you get some cash in hand.
What about those people, though, Amy, who are, we're looking at the Palisades right now, and there are entire neighborhoods that have burned. Some homes are damaged, some are destroyed, some are intact, and unfortunately, residents cannot get in yet to even assess. Can I reach out to my insurance company and say, look, I don't know, and do I just go and get an Airbnb or a hotel and then get reimbursed for it? Or how do I handle this if I don't even know?
Right. So evacuation expenses are covered in most policies, a certain amount of it. So for those people who are evacuated and don't know, it's perfectly fine to call your insurance company, because insurance companies actually have all kinds of data, drone images, and so they may know already about your home before you do. So there's no problem calling them and letting them know. Certainly, it's not going to hurt you. Normally we'll say don't file a claim unless you're sure that it's going to be covered. But in this situation, you want to get information from whatever source you can.
What advice do you have for renters?
So save receipts. Of course, just like homeowners, you want to focus on finding a comfortable temporary place where you can live and be safe. And then, again, get a copy of your policy. For renters, you can start doing an inventory of your stuff. So on our website, uphelp.org, you will find all kinds of free resources, such as a sample of a home inventory spreadsheet that you can use to jog your memory about all the things that you had and lost, and you can start working on that. Or you can just straight up ask your insurance company, will you cash me out on my contents coverage without me having to do the inventory? No harm in asking. Lots of precedent for insurers to do that.
Many people will be unsure of what their coverages are, and then once they are lucky enough to get an adjuster who comes and assesses their home, they might get an offer right on the spot. Should they accept that? And if you're suggesting a second opinion, how do I get that?
Right. So what we tell people is, as long as there's no strings attached to the check, as long as it doesn't say full and final payment, you can take that check, you can cash it, but make sure you create something in writing, an email that says, I just want to be clear that I don't believe this is the full amount that I'm entitled to, but I need this money, and as long as we agree that this is a partial payment, great. However, whatever words you want to use to that effect.
Do they have to respond to that email? In other words, it's one thing if I send it. It's
Right.
another thing if they don't respond.
As long as there's that written confirmation that your understanding is that this is a partial payment, that's fine, right? And then you want to look at the check, if there's a check on both sides, and make sure that there's not language that says full and final. And do not sign a release. In California, your insurance company cannot make you sign a release to pay you insurance funds that they owe you. So as far as getting a second opinion, we absolutely recommend that. We know, look, there are rules up the wazoo here in California for how many days, and how quickly an insurer has to assign adjusters, and how quickly they have to pay or deny. In a situation like this, the reality is there's going to be delays, and we do encourage people to be very patient if they can. Be firm, but recognize the reality that adjusters are going to be in short supply. There's going to be people coming in from out of state that don't know the rules here. So the best thing you can do for yourself is be informed, and that is why United Policyholders has already created a library for these fires. It's free. We're a consumer group. We don't sell anything. So, our advice is really oriented for the consumer. People are going to be hit from every side by solicitations. I can help you. I have a magic wand.
Right.
This is not a good time to be signing away your rights, right? This is a good time to be catching your breath and getting oriented. And that's really what we recommend. You are definitely going to want to get second opinions about how much the value of your stuff is and what's covered. And there may be some people that just feel like I cannot handle it on my own, and that's fine. There are professionals that are available to help you. There are public adjusters that are available. But before you sign on the dotted line and give away a portion of your funds, you really want to give your insurance company a chance to do the right thing. There are great professionals, but you really need to check references, because people can be very persuasive and vulnerable. People are vulnerable when they've gone through a disaster. And we just really encourage people to pace themselves and don't jump too fast in the first couple weeks.
Amy, some really great advice for people this morning. Thank you so much for being with us.